Now that we're into 2023, I can safely look back at 2022 and give you my list of the top 10 films of that year. The top 10 films for me. So, without further ado, let's cue the intro and let's get on with this list. Okay, so here we are. Now, I could have done this list earlier, but I didn't. I'm doing it now. There are some titles on this list that you might think would be there that aren't going to be there because I haven't yet seen them. Films that have come out at the latter part of 2022, so I can't include them for that purpose because obviously we don't see everything. So let's just get on with it. And number 10. Yes, in 10th spot, I'm going to have to say Black Adam from DC with Dwayne Johnson. Now, I know this film was hit and miss for some, and it didn't particularly set the box office alight, considering what's happened with the DC universe now as well. Also, and Dwayne Johnson no longer playing this character, I had fun with this film. That's all I can say. Now, the film wasn't fresh, it wasn't new. I felt like I'd seen it all before. However, Dwayne Johnson's on-screen persona as the character of Black Adam was fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. That's all I can say. What more can you want from a film that you sit and enjoy? Yes, I picked it apart. Of course I did. And there was bits that I weren't happy with. But ultimately, as a lover of superhero movies and the superhero genre and all that, I enjoyed the film. And there we go. 9th spot from Rian Johnson. Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery. Now, this is a film that I only watched a few days ago, but again, it's a film I really enjoyed. It is structured in such a way that it's twists and turns, like a twisty turning thing. I've done a review of it. I didn't want to give away spoilers. I didn't go into the story or that, but it's got a fantastic cast. Daniel Craig is spot on as this character. I love his portrayal of the character within this film. And I'd love to see more from them. The film does overstay its welcome slightly at 1 hour and 39 minutes, but for the most part it's a film that kept me watching, kept me guessing until the final scene, until the reveal of what really went on and this sort of a thing. How much rewatchability the film has, I don't know. That's another question. But ultimately it's in my 9th spot. So now stepping down into the 8th spot, a film from Marvel, and that is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, Marvel's had a bit of a... Well, Phase 4 for Marvel has been a bit wishy-washy, hasn't it? I mean, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness wasn't without issue. You know, I will say that. But I enjoyed it. You know, the fact that I've had to wait since 2016 to now to get a sequel to Doctor Strange. So I was looking forward to this film. Elements came into play that I really enjoyed, that worked for me. The sort of Marvel zombie element to it. Seeing Captain Carter in the flesh, played by Hayley Atwell, John Krasinski, even though they're only there momentarily. These were scenes that I thoroughly enjoyed. I thought having Wanda as the villain, I really enjoyed that. It gave Elizabeth Olsen something more to chew on with her character, and it's a film that I just had fun with. Visually, I liked it. Yeah, it was a whole lot of fun. Then in 7th spot, a film that came out of nowhere for me, and that was Black Phone. Yes, now horror isn't my forte. It's not, but this film here, I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was brilliant. I almost switched the film off because of the little girl. Her performance when she's getting beaten, even though that beating is off screen, off camera, you see her reaction in the aftermath, and there was something so true about it, so real, that it affected me emotionally. It hurt me, it pained me to watch. Anything where children are in pain pains me to watch. and this was no exception. I felt like I was watching a girl who'd really just taken a beat. The film had that sort of an impact on me at that, you know, so I wasn't switching it off for a negative reason in that I didn't like the film, just I found it very difficult. That scene a very difficult watch. The film hit all the right spots for me. You know, it was more of a thriller with a sort of a little element of the paranormal in there, thrown in with the phone calls the kid was getting. Ultimately, though, a great movie. And now, in sixth spot, a film that I would never have believed that I would have put on this list at the start of the year. A film that I was convinced I wasn't going to watch, but yet I did watch it and give it the time of day, and it is now sitting on this list here, and that is Pearl. Yes, Pearl, the sequel to X. Now, the reason I say that I'm surprised it's sat on this list is because, number one, I hated X. I didn't like it at all. So I went into this film, my missus wanted to watch it and thought, okay, let's give it a go. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a completely different beast to what X was. X was more akin to your slasher films, your sort of Texas Chainsaw Massacre type movies. But this film here, Pearl, was more of a psychological, an in-depth psychological study of this character and the motivations and what drove her to become who she is in the film X. Mia Goth, I thought, knocked the roll out of the park in this film. I thought she was very good. So this film here, for me, you know, I still can't believe that I like this film as much as I like this film. Really, it truly was something special for me. And like I said, this is coming from someone who doesn't particularly like this sort of genre of movie, the horror genre. Not that I don't like it, just there's stuff there that it's not my go-to genre. So a film that I did enjoy immensely. Dropping down into fifth spot and directed by Baz Luhrmann was Elvis. Yes, the Elvis biopic. What can I say? I grew up with Elvis in the household. My mother loved Elvis when she was alive. And this film here was really good. You know, sort of frenetic editing, directing style, especially at the beginning of the film. I loved that. The acting was great. I thought the performance of the main guy, Butler was his name, towards the end of the film he really transitioned into Elvis. He really did in those later years of Elvis when he was in Las Vegas. I felt like I was watching the real man. This film was something else, and you know, it gave you another side of the story, and again, thoroughly enjoyable. Now drop into fourth spot, and a film that I anticipated, a film that I was really looking forward to, and that was Prey. Yes, a new Predator film. If you get me a Predator film, I'm going to be excited for it. I love the Predator franchise. I love the creature. I love the look of the creature, the aesthetic. And we've got a film here with Prey that took Predator back to what it was, that just the hunter, but setting it in a different time period, several hundred years in the past. The comics have done this for a long time under Dark Horse Comics. They've always had stories set historically. It amazed me that the films have never actually done that until now. And this film, you know, probably the second best Predator film out of all of them after the very first one. Fantastic, and I certainly hope to see more Predator films akin to this, set in maybe different eras during the World Wars, feudal Japan. You know, the ideas are limitless as to what you could do with a Predator in history hunting, and why not? Why not? Drop into third spot, and this is a film that is probably number one on a lot of people's list, and it is The Batman. No, it's not really. The Batman doesn't make this list. I'm talking about Top Gun Maverick here. Yes, Top Gun Maverick. Now, the top three of this list were difficult for me. They really were. And I know that people are going to be shocked at what I've put above this here movie. Now, Top Gun Maverick, I can't fault this film. It was fantastic. It was, you know, I saw it at the cinema. I'd never seen Top Gun 1 until the day before going to see this because I have an issue with young Tom Cruise. But I like old Tom Cruise. And the film, you know, wow, it was magnificent on the big screen. It was, you know, the fact that it was all filmed in fighter jets, you know, I can't take away from that. It looked magnificent. It sounded magnificent. It was an edge of your seat thrill ride of a movie. I cannot deny that. I had issues with the sort of third act story, in that it was essentially Star Wars: A New Hope. I mean, blatantly so. And for that reason, I am going to drop it a little bit lower in the list. But, you know, it is a thoroughly good film. And like I said, this was a different top 3. And had I recorded this on a different day, it may well have made it a little bit higher than what I've actually put it. But there we go. So my top 2. So second place, I'm going to have to say Spirited. Wow, yes, I know. Shock horror, Spirited. The Christmas film with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. I can defend this film. Yes, I can. Now, this is the film that, even though it's only just come out maybe 4 weeks ago, I've watched this the most this year, more than any other film. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought the songs were great. I thought the dance numbers were great. I thought the aesthetic was great. I thought it had a true heartfelt story to it. It took the Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol story, and it kind of turned it on its head. You know, this isn't a story about Ryan Reynolds being you know, changed by 3 ghosts. It's actually the story of one of the ghosts, and the story of him moving forward, and whether he can find a life after the atrocities that he has made in his younger days, and whether he's actually made up for the atrocities that he's done. And that character is Will Ferrell within the context of the movie. So the film has a far more depth to it than what I thought it would have. And far more character motivation in the 2 characters, and I enjoyed it for that reason. And like I said, I've just gone back to it, and I've been singing these songs over Christmas. I've played them every day in the house, the songs from this movie, and I know them off the top of my head. And you know, again, just a film that I thoroughly had fun with. I mean, you know, comparing it to Top Gun, I know Top Gun is a far, you know, technically better film in a sense, but this film just done it for me. It came out at the right time. It touched the right buttons. It cheered me up when maybe I needed cheering up or something. I don't know, but a magnificent, cleverly crafted film that I thoroughly enjoyed. And my number 1 spot. Yes, my number 1 spot here I have to give to All Quiet on the Western Front. Yes, the film from Netflix, the World War I film based upon the classic book, and there has been a couple of other versions of this film made. Never seen the other version, so that aside, I went into this film. I watched the German version, where it was dubbed, because these are German soldiers, and I wanted that insight into the film. I wanted to feel that, and this film here, it was magnificent. I mean, I was drawn into this film. The detail in this film is phenomenal. What I could see on screen, I mean, it was so good that I was actually looking for errors, looking for things that, you know, looking for things that shouldn't be there. The set dressing is magnificent on the trenches. When you're in the trenches, and when you've got the water, the mud, and all other stuff, and the mud's coloured red because of the blood, and things like this. There's so many elements to the film that I couldn't fault what I saw in this film. And not only that, it's a harrowing story. It shows the complexities of war, and, you know, ultimately it shows the rinse and repeat nature of war, and the effect that it has on people. I mean, you see these characters in this film come into the film as fresh-faced, lively, hungry individuals wanting to fight for their country, and then by the end of the film you see them, you know, morally decimated. You see them, the horrors of what horrors of war have done to them, and you see the rinse and repeat nature of that, with newbies coming in who are essentially a mirror image of these characters at the beginning of the film, and they've now become the characters that they saw at the beginning of the film, who had been in the trenches for some time. It gives you that, you know, it's the futility of war is, you know, exposed in this film, and makes you wonder why we do it, why the human race goes to war, and the fact that we were still, you know, and we done this as well. You know, the British Army, you know, they knew that they had however many minutes left until there was a ceasefire, but they still sent people in to fight, knowing that in 30 minutes, in 15 minutes, in 10 minutes, a ceasefire is going to be called, but they still sent people to their deaths. And it just showed that tragedy for what it truly was. And this is a film that everyone should watch. I truly believe that. It was magnificent. Okay, so there we have it. There are my top 10 movies for 2022. Now, I did release a video yesterday of my most anticipated movies of this year, of 2023. So please feel free to go back and check that one out. Let me know what your best films of the year were. And let me know what your worst films of the year were, and why not. I can tell you one of mine, worst film of the year, was Men. I hated it. Yeah, I did do a review of it, and I ripped it to shreds. But there we go. It's another story. But yeah, so let me know down below your favourite films of the year. What worked for you? What didn't? Like I said, it's all subjective at the end of the day. And yeah, anyway, this is AJ. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you all on the next one. Take care all, and goodbye.